Grace and peace, blessings everyone. I pray that you're doing well. I pray that your Monday went well. It is Monday, August 8th, and we are going to be doing the evening devotional for the morning and evening. As we've been looking at the book, the Devotional Morning and Evening, written by Charles Haddon Spurgeon and revised by Alistair Begg. You can find it on Amazon. It's about $16 for the hard copy, $9 for the Kindle. Okay, so today's evening devotional, we're coming from the book of Mark 9:23. Okay, Mark 9:23, and what it says is, all things are possible to him that believeth. So I'm going to read here from the ESV, and the thing is I don't want to do this a whole Bible study, or a sermon or anything like that. This is just a devotional, but I do want to read the entire verse and then give it some context. And that just adds to the devotional itself, okay? So Mark 9:23, and it says, and Jesus said to him, if you can, all things are possible for one who believes, okay? And so what happened here is there was a boy who has been possessed, and the father is coming and asking for Jesus to help, okay? And so let's go ahead and let's start at verse 20, all right? And they brought the boy to him, and when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed, and the boy fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, how long has this been happening to him? And he said, from childhood, and it has often cast him into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus said to him, if you can, all things are possible for one who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, I believe, help my unbelief. And when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, you mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again. Okay, furthering on in the 26th, and after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said he is dead. Verse 27, but Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose, and when he had entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could we not cast it out? And he said to them, this kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer. So that is the whole story as to what's going on. We're focusing on verse 23, and we're focusing on Jesus's words here saying, all things are possible for one who believes. Okay, so the devotional reads as follows. Okay, and this is written in the King James English. So bear with me as I read through it, and I'll probably change some things here and there to make it flow a little bit better, make it a little easier to understand. Okay. Many professed Christians are always doubting and fearing. So there's a question right there that I want to pose to you and ask you. Okay, how is your faith? How is your belief? Are you always in a doubting or always in a fearing mindset? If things are about to come, or if things are taking place or about to happen, what is your mindset? Are you doubting that things will be done the right way? Are you doubting that things are going to happen as they should? Are you fearing things? Think about that. All right, so many professed Christians are always doubting and fearing, and they forlornly, okay, which is basically to act blue and kind of sad, okay? And the example here is if you was a kid and you heard the ice cream truck coming, you heard the music. I know growing up in California, we always heard the ice cream truck, okay? And you would run to get your money, and if you came out and you missed it, you was beside yourself. And that's what forlornly means, okay? So forlornly think that this is the necessary state of believers. So some people are thinking that doubting and fearing is the necessary state of believers. And Spurgeon says, this is a mistake, for all things are possible to him that believeth. So if you're not even going to have faith and even believe, then, I mean, really, what do you have? And it is possible for us to mount into a state in which doubt or a fear shall be but as a bird passage flitting across the soul, but never lingering there. So we are human, we are flawed, okay? We have a human nature to us that's flawed, all right? So there are times when you may doubt or you may have fear, okay? But as it says, it should be flitting across the soul. So it comes and then it goes. It should never linger there, okay? It should never linger there. So if you find yourself in a doubting and in a fearing way and a mindset, you need to chuck that. You need to pray. You need to get into the word. You need to remember, as the verse says, all things are possible to him that believeth, okay? Now, I just want to say that because, again, I'm not trying to do a Bible study and go deep in all that, but understand that all things are possible to him that believeth. This is not about, things that you can do based on your own flesh and your own wants and own needs and own desires, because we are to live in obedience to God and being obedient to his will and to the path, plan, and purpose and what he has called for us to do and where we should be going and what we should be doing. Okay? So don't take this out of context to where all things, similar to Philippians 4:13, which is always taken out of context, okay? Just because you know that verse and you say it and you believe it does not mean that you're going to make the basketball team, or does not mean that you're going to become a millionaire. What Paul was talking about was about suffering, okay? And in Christ, he could do all things. As he's suffering, he can endure that and continue to make it through, okay? So all things are possible to him that believeth. Please, appropriate context. All right. When you read of the high and sweet communions enjoyed by favored saints, you sigh and murmur in the chamber of your heart. Alas, these are not for me. O climber, if thou hast but faith, you shall yet stand upon the sunny pinnacle of the temple. For, here it goes, all things are possible to him that believeth. You hear of exploits which holy men have done for Jesus, what they have enjoyed of him, how much they have been like him, how they have been able to endure great persecutions for his sake. And you say, as for me, I am but a worm. I can never attain this. Do you see the mindset here? It's always like that negative Nancy. It's always that woe is me. Okay, so that is not the mindset, and that is not how we are to be as Christians. Okay, it's not how we're to be. But there is nothing which one saint was that you may not be. Because again, it's not about the individual, it's about God. God is the one that is doing it all. God is the one that is in control of all things. People are not doing these things on their mere own talents and their own skills and their own desires and passions. They're doing it because God is the one who is orchestrating it and doing it and has deemed for them to do it. There is no elevation of grace, no attainment of spirituality, no clearness of assurance, no post of duty, which is not open to you if you have but the power to believe. Lay aside your sackcloth and ashes. So right here, sackcloth and ashes. Let me just talk about that real quick. Okay, so if you're familiar with the Old Testament, when people were repenting, they would put sackcloth on, and the sackcloth was these garments and sacks, and they were completely uncomfortable, and it was just to make them as irritable and as uncomfortable as they possibly could. And then they would actually sit in ashes, just showing of such a repentant and lowly place. Okay? And you can see that if you read the book of Jonah. Read the book of Jonah and you'll see a great illustration of that. And also, read the book of Jonah in general. It's a great book and it's not that long. So lay aside your sackcloth and ashes and rise to the dignity of your true position. So get up out of that. You are little in Israel because you will be so, not because there is any necessity for it. So you're going to be insignificant or little or small or powerless or whatever because that's what you're doing. Okay? But it's not necessary for you to be as such. Okay? Okay? So it says here, O child of a king, ascend. The gold throne of assurance is waiting for you. The crown of communion with Jesus is ready to bedeck your bow. Wrap yourself in scarlet and fine linen and fare sumptuously every day. For if thou believe, you may eat the fat of kidneys of wheat. The land shall flow with milk and honey, and your soul shall be satisfied with marrow and fatness. Gather golden sheaves of grace, for they await thee in the fields of faith. And finally, all things are possible to him that believeth. So I hope that this encouraged you on today. All right. I went a little bit longer. I'm trying to get these down to 10 minutes or less because, again, it's just a devotional. It's not a Bible study. It's not a sermon. But I also believe in giving you the scripture, giving you the context, and expounding where the Spirit leads me to expound. So again, hope that this encouraged you and blessed you on this evening. And please feel free to comment. Please feel free to like. Please feel free to share. Please feel free to like the channel. To invite people to like the channel. And again, if you have any questions or prayer requests, you can put them on there. And as we're doing this devotional, if you have something that you would like to have expounded on, maybe a passage or a topic or something like that, then we can go ahead and look at about doing that as well. All right. So again, have a wonderfully blessed rest of your evening. And I, Lord willing, will see you tomorrow for another devotional of morning and evening.